So, in today's session, we'll be discussing about HCM groups, repeating time periods, time category, time consumer sets, and worker time entry profiles. So now you people must have, a good idea of what is the meaning of each and every topic we'll be discussing today. So, I'll not go through this detail or this agenda line by line. So I want to show you now first that we created the layout set. Majorly, we'll be going to the system demo today. We'll not follow majorly the PPT, but system demo would be more beneficial. Now, after creating the layout sets, the next task is creating an HCM group. Now, what is an HCM group? Now, HCM group is a collection of different employees or different workers in a company which comes under a similar umbrella. For example, if we are saying that we need to collect a certain group of employees who are under a certain grade or who are under a certain department. So we can create a group of those employees and we can create an HCM group for that. For example, you can see here that workers who work on weekends or on a call schedule or who work on weekends. So that kind of HCM groups can be created. Now, how do we do that in the system is now this HCM group is important because through this only your layouts that we configured will be applicable for the employees to use. If you don't create an HCM group, the system will not know that for which employees you want to use that layout. So we have to create this group and we have to attach this. It's not only for a particular, it's not you have to use it that if you have only particular department, but even if you have no restriction, no evaluation criteria, you have nothing, still for OTL, you need to create an HCM group. Rather, it can be for a legal employer or it can be for an enterprise as well. But this is a necessary task majorly. So, what do we have on HCM group page? Firstly, we define the name of the HCM group, whatever you want to give the name as. I'll give it as training HCM group. Then any description you want to give, use it for time and labor and use it for all workers. Then we have a field called logged. So this is a field which prevents you, to refresh the group. I'll come back to this field again. Let's understand this first. For after giving the name, you have the assignment field here. So what do you mean by assignment field is primary, non-primary, and all that. We must know that we have employees in Fusion who can have multiple assignments. Employees can have one primary assignment and one as a secondary assignment kind of thing. So here we are defining the assignments is that while you are creating this group and you need to accommodate all your employees into one group, you need to select or you need to pick only that employees primary assignments only. System does not have to pick any other assignment, only the primary assignment, or according to a requirement, if you want to choose a non-primary assignment, you can do that. Or if you want to choose all assignments, so all the assignments for the employees will be chosen when actually accommodate your employees into this group. So, but mostly we use the primary field. Then we have the next check mark as include assignments with an HR status of active or suspended. Now, there can be certain assignments which are active or there can be certain assignments which are suspended. So, if we use this check mark, so there could be a situation where employee will have suspended assignments as well. So if we check mark this, that suspended assignment of employees will also be considered. But in ideal scenarios we don't do that. We only select the active ones. but maybe there could be some other use case where you only want the employees who have, suspended assignments, that kind of thing. So in that case, you can use this check mark or this checkbox. Then we have include and refresh all groups processes. Now, what do I mean by refresh all groups is when you create an HCM group, there is a process, a scheduled process named as evaluate group membership, which you need to run. So when you run that process, uh, all the employees, whichever the according to the evaluation criteria you have chosen, for example, if we say for department A, so all the employees who are working in department A will come into this group or will be a part of this group after running the process. It's not only we just need to create the group and employees will be a part of it. No, we'll have to run the process to, which basically accommodate or get all those employees into our one group. So this check mark it include in refresh all groups processes. So while running a process, there are certain parameters which we need to give. So in that parameter, we have a parameter called as, refresh all groups. So do we need to include this group into refresh all groups or not? So for that purpose, you can use this checkbox. But in ideally, we don't use that. We manually schedule our create groups. Then use manually maintain membership. Member list is now you know removed. So then we have the logged field. Logged field is if we select it as yes, then you can prevent this group to be refreshed. So basically, you are permanently locking the group membership. So we cannot remove or add anybody in this group. So we use it for that purpose. Then we have evaluation period. So whenever we run the process of, generate of that evaluation of group membership, we give a specific date that on this date we need to run our process. So what system accepts is whosoever employee if is hired on that day, on that specific date, and any date before the specific date, then only those employees will be considered in the group. For example, we have an employee A who have, for example, we are running the process and we are running it effective from I would say 19th of August. We are giving the schedule date or the evaluation date as 19th of August. Now, any employee, according to the evaluation criteria, any employee who is eligible for this, who is eligible to come to this group will be considered, and any employee who is hired on 19th or any day before 19th will be considered, basically. Yeah. So when we give a specific date, any employee hired on 19th or before 19th will be considered in the group. So that is what evaluation period as of run date is. Then we have for a date range. Then for a date range, what do we mean by this is that here I mentioned that any employee before 19th would be considered. But if we give a date range, so system will only understand that system needs to check the employees only under that period only. For example, if I give 30 days before evaluation date and 30 days after evaluation date. So 30 days before evaluation date, if any employee specifies the criteria or comes under the criteria will be considered. And after evaluation date, so any employee specifies that criteria in that particular period will be considered. So we basically give a date range here. Then we have evaluation criteria. I'll select here as of run date. Yeah. Then we have evaluation criteria. So in the evaluation criteria, you have multiple attributes you can select. You can select any person you want to select according to the gender or any other attributes. Then you have under employment, you have multiple things. You can select assignments, you can business, departments, any category, grades, jobs, legal employers. So for now I will select legal employer.
Bhavna, do we
So
have a
here
fast formula option also here?
for evaluation criteria,
For HCM group, yeah, evaluation criteria.
no.
Okay.
We can create value sets, but we don't have any fast formula kind of option here. So I'll select any employee who is working any employee who is working into, as I'm majorly using the SA legislative data group, so I'll take Saudi Arabia legal entity. Any employee working under this legal entity will be a part uh, of this group. I don't want to give any other criteria. If you want, you can put other and or conditions. Uh, Accordingly, these logics would be working that if you select and if you say that I want to use legal employer and I want to use a particular, suppose, payroll. And then in that case, you would say that legal employer and a particular payroll value you want to use. So accordingly, so both conditions will be checked, that any employee who is working under Saudi Arabia legal entity and under this monthly payroll will be considered. This is just an example. I'm not using it. And for or is either of the one. If you choose or, if after payroll, if I say, for example, uh, position, then I'll show you that again. Legal employer is equal to R. And if we choose or with the payroll or any other criteria, any other attribute, then either of the one, either legal employer or any employee who's working on any other, for example, department. So if employee should either working on Saudi Arabia or working on a specific department will be a part of this group. So accordingly, you can play with the conditions and make your own evaluation criteria. Now we have include or exclude groups. Here, HCM groups can be a part of other HCM groups as well. So, for example, if you have, two groups and you want that there could be a conflict where, one employee can specify or can be a part of two groups according to the evaluation criteria, or they can, satisfy the evaluation criteria of both the groups. Then in that scenario, we can create here one field where you can include or exclude groups. For example, where here we are saying that one employee is specifying the criteria of group A and group B, but you want that employee should be eligible only for group A but not for group B. So in that case, you can specify a certain group here, and you can exclude that group from group A, or you can exclude that group B from group A. So in that case, any employee who's a part of group B will not be a part of group A, and vice versa. And the same way, you can use include also, that if you want, a certain group that is created and you want that group to be a part of this group, so that's how also you can do this. Then the other thing is, here we have value sets. Now, uh, in some scenarios there can be a case where the attributes present in evaluation criteria must not be enough, and you must not reach to a requirement, you'll not be able to fulfill your requirement that I want these particular employees, but we don't have the evaluation attributes to get those employees in the group. So in that case you can create a value set, because using a value set you can bring any data you want from the system. So you can use a value set, you can create that value set here, you can mention the name of the value set, and you can accordingly use the include and exclude condition. Whatever your requirement is, accordingly you can use that. Now here you cannot use the independent type of value set. You'll have to use a table type, or basically majorly table type of value sets, because uh, you need to write the SQL queries and everything, so that you'll be able to get those or exclude those employees from the system. Then the other field is include or exclude members. So here you can manually add any member or exclude any member from the group if you don't want, to, if that employee, if there is only one or two employees where you are seeing that we are not getting the evaluation criteria, as you don't, if you don't have much employees, so you can use this manual list also to, you know, uh, include or exclude the employees accordingly. You can just add the members, you can specify the person name or person number, and you can include the members accordingly. So yes, after all these, we just save and close. And that's how our group is created. Now, after a group is created, you need to refresh your group. So in the HCM group page only, we have refresh group membership, or you can go to scheduled processes, and from there also we can run the process. But for now, I'll show you from here. Just select the group you want to refresh. Select refresh group membership, and then we have certain parameters here. The group name. You can also give a person name, that for only for this process should only run for a particular person. This can help you in such cases where you know that there is a person who is newly hired, or there's a person who got terminated, or is not longer the part of the group. So in that case, rather than running or submitting this process for all the employees, you can just specify a person name and you can run the process. So the action of including that member in the group or excluding will happen only on one particular person. Then the evaluation date, as we discussed, you can give any date. I'll give
Bhavna,
it as
if I would like to exclude that employee has to be in the HCM group exclude condition, right?
no. If you want to exclude that employee, that could be one thing. You can use that exclude uh, thing also, but
Mhm.
it's a good practice you don't use that, because manual creations are not you know acceptable also in certain cases, or not recommended. So in their ideal scenario in that case can be, for example, if an employee is resigning and is not the part of the group, will not be a part of the group from now, or from the legal employer. So in that case you can just specify the person name and you can run the group. So because the
So
employee has
system will,
resigned, so
so
it
the
will
system
automatically
so
go out.
system will automatically take the resignation scenario.
Yes, yes, because that's what employee is not longer a part of that legal employer. It's the employee's
But
work
it,
relationship
but
must
employee
have been
has
terminated.
if okay, if employee has already been terminated in that case, right?
Yes, yes. Obviously, you'll have to give the evaluation date accordingly. Like basically, if employee's last date is 30th, if I say 30th of June, so employee is eligible in this group on 30th only. So you need to run the process from 1st of July, so that from 1st of July, a new updated list of employees will come in front of you.
So by automatically it will take off, right? That
Yes,
employee.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So then we have evaluation
So
date. Then
in what condition we are giving the person name? Because in that case, when an employee is terminated on 30th, for example, on first if we are running it, then
hmm,
automatically that employee will be discarded. So person name, are we using when an employee is joining the organization that time
that
to
also you can use. So basically, you can use it in both the purposes. Anyhow, if the employee is getting terminated, in any case, still you'll have to run the HCM group to update your list to know let HCM group know that this employee has been removed from the has been resigned from the company, and now you want to remove this from the HCM group. So for that purpose, you'll have to run the HCM group process.
is
Yeah.
it
So one
Now,
is it
question.
scheduled? Is it scheduled?
Sorry.
yes,
Yeah. So one question I have, Bhavna. So let's
yeah.
say the when normally in organization, is it the refresh group membership? Is it going to happen monthly or quarterly or half yearly or yearly?
So as a good practice, we majorly schedule it daily,
Okay.
once daily, so that for every day this list gets updated.
Okay. So refresh group is like, let's say someone actually working in a HCM is part of the HR, HCM implementation. We created a group. Maybe maybe some of them actually included daily. I mean, some of them included monthly. But as per you, I think we are going to update daily, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So the
Yeah.
normally the refresh group membership, is there any criteria in terms of all the members who are actually part of the particular project can be grouped together, and then so, or maybe someone actually moved to the different project, we can remove them daily, right?
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Bhavana, one in some of the project, I believe I have seen that in ACM group they are using fast formula. That is why I have asked. Yeah, is there any provision to include fast formula for including a member in the group? Can we write?
Past formula in HCM group, no. In any implementations I have worked,
I
I
mean,
have not seen
mm,
it's a fast formula using. Also, in the HCM group configuration, also, if I show you, we don't have any options of that.
maybe I may not be able to recall, but
I'll just go
okay,
to
I will see.
the HCM group again. But yes, you can create value set, but you cannot create fast formulas for including or excluding the members in the
I will
HCM
look
group.
at my
you.
document and then yeah, tomorrow I will ask. Yeah. Okay, Mahesh.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, we have evaluation date here. Then we have remove future dated group members. So in this case, what happens that where can we use it basically? So for example, maybe you have in certain cases you have not scheduled your group membership, or the client wants that we are not scheduling it, we'll run according to our business needs whenever we want to. So in that case, what could happen is that there can be employee, for example, if they're running the group membership weekly. Now in between, or after they have run the group membership for the week, before that after that they have hired an employee. So if I give you by dates example, will be an easy thing for you. So for example, they have run the process, they are running the process weekly. They have run it till 17. So any employee who is hired till 17 will be included in the system. Now there could be a scenario where clients must have forgot to hire an employee, which whose joining date is before 17. So in the system, the employee is not present. So in that case, they'll obviously do a transaction backdated of hiring an employee. So for example, employee is hired on 12th of June, but our HCM group has been ran according to 17th of June. So, and system does not allow you to select the backdate record again and then again submit it. Like backdate. Majorly you will be thinking that okay, that's not an issue. I'll just go again. I'll run this process again for 12th of June, and then again I'll get that employee in the system. So in that case, you can't do that. System does not allows you to select backdated dates. So what you can do is you have this remove future dated group members. You can select it as yes. So in that case, if you want to select any backdated date as well, you can select it and then you can run your process. So that is one. Then we have include prior days, like for till which week you want to run, you can specify that for prior, for only last week or for last 2 weeks, that kind of specifications you can do. And if not, so it will run according to the system dates and everything. Then we have evaluate only workers with HR changes. So here, why do we use it? That if, for example, employee has any HR changes in his assignment or any resignations or something, so those are some HR transactions which have happened. So we cannot specify, for example, we have 6 employees who have some recent HR transactions. We know that we have some 6 employees with recent HR transactions, but we don't know the employees. And we don't want to run the group for all the employees which are present in the system. We don't want to refresh the group for all the members. So in that case, the system, if we checkbox this, the system will know that which employee has some recent HR transactions, and this group will be refreshed only for those workers, not for anyone else. So these are some parameters which we use for refreshing our groups. So I'm giving it training. I want to run it from 3rd of July and I'm submitting this. Now you can view evaluation status from here, that what is, so yes, our process is run completely. Then we have view group members. So through view group members, you can actually see that under the specifications we provided, the evaluation criteria we provided was that employees who are working under Saudi legal employer. So now all employees who are working under Saudi legal employer are the part of this group. Now, one thing to you know uh, pay attention to here is, now this is not necessary that hire date and the membership start date of the employee will be same. Membership start date is always the date on which you have run the this process basically. So because we specified 3rd June as the evaluation date, so employees will be starting their membership from that date. Now, any employee who will be joining after 3rd of July, their membership start date will be their hire date. But because we have started this group from 3rd of June, so any employee will come after 3rd of June, will get or will be a part of this group from the day they have got hired in the company. But any employee who has been hired before the before the evaluation date will be their membership start date will be 3rd of June basically. So I would say the first date on which you firstly ran, like the date you specified when you firstly ran your HCM group. After that, you run it multiple number of times, your start date would be the same, but slowly and gradually it gets updated according to the criteria you mentioned and dates you mentioned. So, and this membership end date, it also gets updated once the employee gets out of the group. So what happens is, obviously this list gets updated, so doesn't mean that employee will be get out of the list and you'll not be able to search it. So according to the dates, you can search the employee, and this end date will be updated. So for example, if this employee is resigning and the last working day is 23rd of August, that is today. So this membership end date, as and when you run the HCM group and run the process, this membership end date will automatically get updated to 23rd of August. And from 24th of August, if you change the date from here, if you change the effective date and see, so you'll not be able to see the employee in the group. So yeah, that is about HCM groups. we know we have created layout set, we have created HCM groups, we have evaluated the HCM group. Now, now you want that, okay, I've done the basic layout. Now I want the employee to see the time card that I have created. So in that case, we have a task named as worker time entry profiles. We'll use this. Create. Then you can give a name here. Effective date, the basic we gave was 1/1/1951. Then here we'll be choosing a layout set. The layout set we created to, actually system to know that which layout we need to use for this profile and for which employees basically. So we created this version 1. Now here we have certain options. Here we have certain entry actions which actually plays a major role for, controlling the time card creation or editing from the manager or employee or time and labor manager. So and the name all itself is self-explanatory here, that for creation, you obviously for create will be enabled that an employee can create the time card. Now we have a days before and days after field here. So what does it say is that, for example, if we are saying create, employee can create a time card, but employee cannot create a time card 30 days before the system date and 30 days after the system date. So what do I mean by this is, today is 23rd. 30 days before this date would be last month basically. So that would be around, I would say, in the third or fourth week, majorly of July. So, yeah, so majorly the fourth week of July. So, employee will not be able to create any time card before after, like, before 23rd of July, basically 23rd or 22nd of July, according to the 30 days calculated from the system date. And employee will not be able to create any time card 30 days after 23rd of August. So that would around after basically 22 or 22nd or 23rd of September majorly. So these kind of specifications you can give. So these controllings are most of the time are done by the clients, that they don't want their employees to have that access, that they can create any time card of any period. So they majorly give a 90 days kind of, limitations they provide, that okay, 3 months time card you can create, but not more than that, backdated or future dated time cards. Then we have view only view. So basically for employees, if the time card status isn't entered, saved, submitted, approved, rejected, whatever the status of the time card is, worker will be able to view their time entries. By viewing their time entries, I mean they'll not be able to edit any time entries, but they can only view that these are the time entries that are submitted. They cannot perform any action on that. But if as a client you don't want to give those specifications, you can check mark that as well.
Yeah, one question I have, Bhavna, so regarding the
Yes.
timeshare that. So now let's say we identify for one of the project in our HCM project, one of the contractor means consultant working for this assignment. Doing the assignment, so normally the client will not give access to modify about what you mentioned about 90 days kind of thing. So probably he only can actually edit his only 1 month time period. Let's say in the month of August, he can only edit any of the time hours only in the month of August. So he cannot actually enter modify the previous month the time card, right? So
Hmm.
because the classification either it need to be a permanent employee or the contract employee. For only I'm talking about a contract employee may not have the privilege to modify his previous time card, the last month time card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but what you are actually mentioning that is about 90 days you can actually edit and do that. But however, in US, most of the company they'll not allow any contractor or any, I mean, any consultant to modify the timesheet. Last month timesheet. They won't allow anyone to modify the last month timesheet once they submitted.
Bhavna,
So,
in that
Yeah.
scenario, can we create two different type of HCM group, or whatever you are saying, one for a contract employees, another for the regular employees?
Yeah. So normally, what happened is regular employee can actually modify the
mm,
timesheet and everything, but however, contractor cannot modify the timesheet the previous month. So when you are creating a profile in the time card and wherein this option definitely will be there, are you, I mean, full-time employer or consultant. So
mm,
consultant, the admin will actually modify, I mean, basically will give a privileges only for a full-time employees to modify last month, but wherein the contractor cannot have modify the previous month time card.
understood.
Yeah,
So,
thank
yes, we need to create different HCM groups, Ashutosh, to answer your question for contractors and regular employees. Now, for answering your question that how monthly kind of validations we can put. So, as far as I know, I don't think any monthly kind of validations we can put. We can only put, according to the configurations, we can only put the validations of 30 days. But if in that case, just to achieve that requirement, in that case, we can create a validation for the employee that if previous month kind of time card, if employee is trying to edit, so employee will not be able to do that. So we can throw a validation that you're not allowed to edit any time entries of the previous month. But from the system side, that system error, you'll not be able to create it. We'll have to do it customly, like we have to create a custom formula for that, and custom validations needs to be thrown for that. Because these days it actually sees the system date, from the system date and after the system date. It does not show anything monthly. We don't have such configurations yet. She I hope it answers your question.
One more question, Bhavna. In my organization, I have seen that for contractor also the same time sheets appears, for a regular employee also the same time sheet appears. How HR is differentiating? I'm just asking for my curiosity. Uh,
How
if, yeah, how HR will be differentiating on the layout that this is for contractor, because it looks same for contractor
No,
as well
for
as for regular
different
employees.
clients, there could be different, different requirements, right? That if whatever Srinivas is mentioning, so there in their projects could be a requirement that contractor cannot update any, this time cards before this particular date. But for regular employees, this kind of specifications you don't want. But now, and for the, in your case, they don't want any such kind of validation, so you can use the same layout. Again, layout can be same, but HCM groups could be different. We were talking about HCM groups. I didn't mention that we need to create different layouts for that purpose, but we need to create two different HCM groups for contractors and regular employees.
Normally, it happens in most of the organization, right? During implementation, for contractor different layout, for regulars employee different layout.
Most of the time it happens, but it's not much of the difference of how contractors are using their time. So majorly the kind of requirements client throws is not, easily configurable from the system. We cannot have some checkbox and we can just check mark it and achieve that. So in that case, fast formula comes into picture where we have to customly do that. But yes, if need pertains that you want that kind of requirement that two different profiles needs to be created, so that can also be done. So there, if you want a use case that where contractor is using a different profile, or employee is using a different profile. So in that case, you can say that there are many ideal scenarios that after approving or submitting, majorly approving of time card, employee is not allowed to edit the time card. So maybe client can say that whosoever is the regular employee, we are giving the access to regular employees that they can still edit the time card which is approved, but contractors cannot. So in that case, you will have to create a different layout, because after the time card is approved, this checkbox, you can use this checkbox that after time card is approved, you can edit that time card. So for regular employees, it will be ticked, but for contractors, it will be blank. So in that case, different layouts will be used. Just an example, just a use case I'm giving you. Okay. So yeah, so for we were talking about view only. So according to the time statuses, workers can view their time cards. Again, you can specify what are the days if you want to specify. Then edit. The thing I was mentioning now, that employees can edit their time cards in any of the statuses: incomplete or errored or approved. In ideal scenarios, what happens is that if the time card is approved, so clients does not give the access to employees to edit the time card. So that kind of uh, requirement you can achieve it by through just playing with these checkboxes. Same goes for deleting the time card in any of the statuses. So majorly for delete, we keep it as, matlab for some majorly we keep it for entered and saved. But once your time card gets submitted and it has flowed to approval, or is it approved, then we don't give that flexibility to employee to, delete the time cards. We majorly give it when it is in entered state, or it is in saved status. But again, if you want to, you can give, and then again you can specify if any days validations you want. I don't want any days validations for now. And the same goes for line manager. This is for employee. The same goes for line manager. I want to give every access to line manager. So there is one enable option here. You can just tick mark on that. So every option will be tick marked. You don't have to go one by one and check mark that. And same for time and labor manager. So yeah, then we have edits to work schedule. So basically it shows that can is according to this profile, is the employee or anyone is allowed to edit the worker's schedule from the time card itself. Because if you remember, in from the admin self-service, we saw something named as planned schedule, that where you can use the employee schedule or change it. So if you want to control it, you can control it from here. Then we have attestation sets. What is attestation sets? Basically, that these are a set of questionnaires. So for example, for example, there is a time entry of on call. For example, that employee is not having any scheduled hours, but employee is called to work anytime the company wants. So that are on call employees. So, for that purpose, for example, an employee has come, employee has recorded their hours under on call, but before submitting their time cards, the client or the company wants that there should be certain questions that client should answer. That, if there is an on call employee, so is the employee, uh, working from home or working from office, or one use case from a real time project I'll tell you, which I have experienced, is that employee is using their basic hours to just record their timings, but there is a threshold value that you cannot, like for 3 hours. Basically, there's a threshold of 3 hours. So if employee is recording any hours more than 3, then it's fine. But if any employee is recording hours less than 3, so it is basically an a necessity that that 3 hours must be given to the employees. So, but that depends on employees' response. I'll show you in an Excel. So, for example, there is an employee 1 and employee 2. So, employee A have recorded regular hours as 2. Employee 2 has recorded regular hours as 4. Now, the client wants that there is certain attestation after the this gets recorded. Then there is a certain question once employee submitted or tries to submit a time card, which would pop up that are you allowed to receive the 3 hours of threshold value or 3 hours of schedule threshold value or not. So there is a yes or no kind of, so okay, we can say it a minimum engagement kind of thing. So a minimum value of hours. So if employees answers as yes, that employee is eligible to get the minimum hours, then the calculation, while we are calculating the hours, the calculation of regular hours will be 3 for, so under calculation for employee 1, our regular hours will be 3. And for employee 2, because it does not have any impact, so it will be 4 only. The regular hours will be 4. So majorly for employee 1, because employee is recorded less than 3, then this attestation gets triggered for the employee. And we can also control this that when you want to, uh, basically trigger this attestation. So these are very rarely which are used. This is not a very common or ideal scenarios like in every project we use. This is very in very rare projects where clients are using certain questionnaires to use. Then we have allow edits to attestation that once your time card gets submitted after you have answered to a question, if employee is allowed to come again and edit the attestation, edit the question, or edit the answer of the question, whatever they have given. So in that case, you can check boxes and this cost overhead
Where we create this attestation set?
we have different it is a different configurations. We have certain questionnaire templates, we have certain questionnaires.
Is it a
So
question? Is it a questionnaire template?
yes, a questionnaire template, then we have questionnaires. I think in performance, majorly we use these questionnaire templates and questionnaires.
Correct. So we can use from
But
there,
for yes, that part only that that is the only navigation from where you use. It's only just maybe the module or something field name is there. There you can choose time and labor, and you can create the questions of your choice. That is attestations basically. Then we have enable cost override option. So majorly, it is used for project costing when you need to, override any costing field from here if a worker is eligible to override that or mention any costing field. So that kind of thing you can use. But these are all some information purpose kind of options. These are not used majorly. The major thing to understand here are time entry actions under worker time entry profiles. So yeah, this is the first page. Then we go to next.
be overhead.
Sorry. Then we go to next. Now here we have group assignments. Group assignments, I mean, here we'll be attaching our HCM group. So after attaching the HCM group, every employee who is under that group will be eligible to raise the time card or raise the time card according to the layout we have
Bhavna, there
configured.
was some lag. Can you go back, please? Once there was some sort of lag. Can you cancel this? After creating.
So yeah, I was talking about group assignments. That now here we'll actually assign our HCM groups for the employees. So when we add the group, so now every employee, the HCM group that we have configured, so every employee who is a part of that HCM group, uh, after we configure this train stop, the employee will be able to, like those employees, which one is the group we created, training group or training HCM group? And see that. So yes, those employees will be able to 3rd of June training HCM. Will be able to raise the time cards according to the layouts we have configured. Then these are dates you can specify. Go to next. Now here we have the profile priority. So basically there could be multiple profiles which are created. So a good practice that, so majorly what we do is that the profile that we created should have the first priority and other profiles accordingly, because when the time card gets raised, so it will check according to the priorities of the other profiles which are there. So in that case, the priority of our profile in the, in whichever client environment we are working, so majorly the custom profile which is created should be at number 1. All other delivered time entry profiles should be below that for your profiles to work properly. So this is profile priority. Then we have next, and we are just save and close. So by this, your profile gets created. Now, to understand whether, if for example, if you want to check for a specific employee, that is the correct profile is attached to that specific employee or not, we have a troubleshoot button here. Go to time entry profile. You can click on the troubleshoot. You can specify the person number. For example, from this group, I'll take any person number. Example, this. I'll take this. I'll search. And we can see that from 3rd of June, that is their membership start date, this employee has got this profile. And now this employee will be eligible to raise the time cards from 3rd of June under this layout. So if you try to raise, if you say that, okay, I'm not able to raise any time card before 3rd of June and I'm getting some, errors. So uh, so you can understand by that, you can check that the date specified as 3rd of June and employee is eligible to enter according to the 3rd of June. So Ashutosh, I think you mentioned yesterday that you were getting that responsive UI error, right?
Yes, yes.
So in that case, again, you have to check the dates, that from which date your, profile is attached to that employee. So if you majorly what you must have been doing is that you must be raising the time card which is before the assignment start date. So in that case, you get that particular error if you have
Okay.
created any custom profile. So
Okay.
that thing you can check.
And one more option that we have assigned profile to a person. So when we are using this,
So assign profile to a person, basically we use it when you have for a specific person you want to assign, a specific profile. Majorly, you don't want to assign it to a group of employees, but just one employee you want a specific profile to be created and you just want to assign it. So in that case, you can assign the profile. So the manually assignment of this profile will be overridden by the actually assigned profile. So in that case, we use it. So yes. So majorly this troubleshoot option is very much helpful. Like whenever you get an error on the time card, some system error or something, the first and the foremost thing you do. So majorly whenever a system issue you encounter that employee is not able to raise a time card or something comes, so the first and foremost thing you do is come to troubleshoot. Take a specific employee, come to troubleshoot and check that if the profiles are assigned properly or not. Then you can check for other configurations, but the first thing you do is this only. So that was about worker time entry profiles. Any questions, guys, for worker time entry profiles for HCM groups or
Now we
anything?
can, Bhavna, now we can log in as an employee and we can enter the time
Yes,
against this.
yes.
And just okay. In this one, we have also associated our cost center, I believe, right?
For that layout set, yes, I think. Let me check.
Because we use the custom time attributes.
Hmm. Hmm. I
Similarly,
think
suppose assume that there is no project module uh, licensing, okay, but still somewhere client is managing the project info. So similarly, the way we created the custom time attribute, we can create the projects also, right? As a cost center, you have
yes.
created.
Yes. The same way you can create the custom attribute of that and you can do that. Okay. So now I'll just choose any employee. I have this employee. I'll try to log in through this. I've already,
Reset the password. Already done.
yes, yes. You have a pretty good experience in OTL, Ashutosh, is it?
No. I have done one support
It
project.
shows the kind of questions you put, it shows that you have a good experience in OTL.
No. I have done one support project in OTL. That's it.
Oh, okay. And this trace for a different time period. The thing we have for these time periods for this employee. Let's raise it for the month of June itself. Hmm. Also, I'll first show you that error that if I try to raise anything before 3rd of June, so employee will not be able to take it. For example, 29th, and 29, 27 till 2nd of June. If I add it, they with the basic what have been assigned to the employee, the basic entries basically. So they are the projects one. So this would be the delivered or seeded one, which is already present in the system. But now if we try to add it according to our time periods, so if I try it for July, 8th of July, add, yes. Now I'll compare it with the layout set also. We have the assignment number. We have the assignment number, and because it is a required field, it will be a required field because uh, by this assignment number only the system will know that which values needs to be shown to the employee. Because if you remember that while configuring time types or this time attributes, we have provided certain filters, and in that filters assignment was one of the filters. So this list will be filtered out according to the assignment number, and if you do not select the assignment number, you'll not be able to see any other field here.
One, we selected the filters at the custom time attribute, right?
Yes, at the layout components also and at the custom time attribute also, both level. So assignment number, then we have the time types. So basically I've configured regular, overtime and one sick leave, that is the absence one. So these are the time types you are getting according to the layout that we have provided here. So I'll select suppose regular time. Now we have the cost center, but I have provided the display level at row level details. So for that, because it will not be present directly, it will be present under additional attributes field. So we will show additional attributes. Click on the show additional attribute field, which is present here. We'll click on the list. And here we have the list of values that we have. You can select any cost center you want. And then any start time and stop time you want. For example, I'm giving from 10 a.m. to suppose 3 p.m. Okay, we have AM, PM, so 3 p.m. So it automatically calculates the quantity. You can also give the quantity if you don't want to give the start time and stop time. So I want to give 8 hours here. I want to give 9 hours here. So only the suppose this is the time entry I want to do, and this is how your time card is looking according to the layout that we configured. Then you can perform any, you can save or submit. For now, I'm just saving the time card. I'm not submitting it. I think one thing I forgot to mention that how do we get to know that we are creating this weekly period of time card? Like how the system knows that if we are adding the time card and if we are selecting any date, so that so the end date and the start date and end date would be for a week. So in that case, there is a task named as repeating time period. So in repeating time period, you can specify that what is your period? Is it monthly? Is it weekly, bi-weekly? Whatever you want. So
Normally, we
this
define
is,
this in the early itself, right?
yeah, at the very early stage, I just forgot to mention that.
We also use this in our apps and so.
Hmm. Anything you can define training, repeating period, for example. Then period usage, where you want to use it on the time card. So time card will get to know for which period you want to define. For approval, so when the approvals will be flowed. So for that approval also it will flow weekly. So for that date range of approvals will be there when submitted time cards are flowed to approval. Then we have accrual processing. So basically, when the employees are, basically accruing the time. So what would be the period in which they will accrue? So if you want to use that, so basically in annual leaves, we say that we accrue a certain leave balance monthly or weekly or daily according to whatever your company suggests. So if you want to use this repeating period, if you want to say that I want my employees to accrue the leaves weekly. So for that period, for that perspective, you can use it. Then you have overtime. So for calculating the overtime, basically you can use it. And for balances, so if you have any time balance to use according to whatever Oracle specifies here that there is a vacation balance, or for example a balance needs to be added to your plan. So for that particular purpose also you can use this repeating time period. But for time and labor perspective, we majorly use time card and approval. Others you can use for approvals, or sorry, for absences criteria majorly. Then we have period definition where we specify we want monthly, semi-monthly, or weekly time card. Monthly would be for a week, semi-monthly would be bi-weekly, 14 days, and a weekly would be a weekly time card. So I want a weekly time card. So accordingly, you can select that you want it as a bi-weekly or a 1 week. So I want it as a 1 week. I can give a sample start date. So the sample start date I will give for Monday. Let's give it as any year, 2015, January. any Monday. And here we have preview time period. So by this, you will able to, for
But
example, if you
Bhavna,
want.
one input. The start date would be ideally what? When our work schedule starts, that date we should start.
No, no, not the work schedule start. Work schedule start, matlab, you mean by working day start of the employee or the effective
Yes, sir.
start date of the work schedule?
Work schedule, the effective, because in the time period when we are creating, we started it from 2024 something, right? From Jan
Hmm.
some date. Work schedule we
Mm-hmm.
created. So we should select
Hmm.
that date here or
No, no, no. It's just a sample start date. So from sample start date, the repeating time period will basically know that, this from this week basically, or this is the start date of this repeating time period. This is not anything related with the work schedule start date. And will be Sunday. So according to, I gave some sample preview dates so you can see that a period start date, period end date, some calendar view you can see. So again, you can just this kind of calendar view that employees, this is the time period which is created. So yeah, you can just play around with this page. That's it. Just save and close. So yeah, coming back to the employee. So this is how we create a layout for the employee to actually, enter the time card or see the time cards or report any time entries.
and the notification will be once you submit it, notification will trigger to manager, right? Yeah, I just wanted to
Once
know,
I,
yeah, where we
Mhm.
are setting this notification for time and labor.
That is approvals. Approvals is altogether a different
Acha,
thing. We'll discuss it in the last session. Like, man, how do we, configure approvals
acha,
for the
okay, okay,
employees?
got it. So there will be putting
Hmm.
FYI or something, right? We'll be using that.
Yes, you wanted
But
approval or you want FYI. So these are
yeah,
all approvals.
no, got it. Now, because if you look at the talent management side, okay, in the talent management, especially for goals, profile, for talent review section plan, performance, everything you have a notification to trigger, when to trigger, and all that. We don't have such kind of, just like a core HR or any other model. The approval notifications are there. It is the similar way here.
So there, I'm not sure how talent is configured, but uh, if there is something that it automatically triggers for the employee that if
Not
there are
automatically
any.
triggers. There is a window where you set up the notifications for goals, performance, on which, for example, when an employee is assigned a goal, then it triggers a
Hmm,
notification to employee as well as a line manager. Those options will be there. When HR changes the attributes of a goal, do you want to trigger the notification? So you ask. So
hmm.
those things we don't have here, right? Only from the approval
No,
portal.
no, no, no. We do it everything from the approvals, right? Okay, so yes, I think the time card is created.